one of the previous letters, I told you of an incident where the Madras High Court dismissed a petition requesting to prevent the Periyarist Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu from interfering in the functioning of temples in that state. At that time, the court said such petitions cannot be entertained because India is a secular country. Fast forward a few days, and the same Madras High Court dismissed another petition that requested them to stop the Periyarist Tamil Nadu government from forcing Hindu temples to perform puja and other offerings in Tamil instead of Sanskritam. This time, the court said that it is the devotee's choice in which language they want the puja to be performed. It looks like the court has conveniently ignored the secular nature of India's constitution. I think it is useful in our country for everyone to keep remembering the meaning of secularism from time to time. Everywhere else in the world, the word secularism is understood to mean a separation between the state and the religion. It is meant to prevent the state from being influenced by religious affiliations of one or the other group of its citizens and to protect the religious institutions from undue meddling by the state. In India, however, secularism is a tool to perpetuate unrestrained, limitless authority of the state over all matters related to Hindu religious institutions. Like I said in the last letter from the basement, this is a continuation of the colonial project of civilizing the heathens. It comes from a mindset that is prejudiced to think that anything Hindu is regressive and in need of reform by the state. So secularism is invoked whenever it is suitable in the pursuit of this agenda. If invoking secularism doesn't serve this agenda, it is conveniently forgotten. Another thing that the very respectable judges seem to ignore, and it's not just in this case but many other times earlier also in cases like Shabarimala and Shanishinganapur, is that temples are not cinema theatres where you can go and ask for a deluxe class ticket or an ordinary class ticket, or some textile shop where you can go and ask for a shirt in whichever color you like, or some entertainment channel like Hotstar where you can listen to sports commentary in whichever language you want. Every temple is established under a certain tradition and follows specific rituals. The deity in every temple is different. You cannot have one shoe fits all kind of rules. One doesn't visit a temple as a tourist but as a devotee, and if you are a devotee, you should respect the traditions of that temple. If you do not respect those traditions or you think they are stupid or regressive or whatever, just don't go to pray there. There are hundreds of Vishnu temples in our country and hundreds more of Shiva temples. What's the purpose of visiting each Vishnu temple or each Shiva temple? It's the same Bhagwan, no? Why even go to a temple to pray for that matter? Ishvara is everywhere, in every grain of sand, in every insect, in every animal, in you and in me. Then, why go to the temple and that too to so many of them? Because each temple is different. Each one radiates a different kind of energy and evokes a different kind of emotion in a devotee. If you cannot or do not relate to that energy or feel that emotion, there is no point even going to that temple. Pray in your house or wherever else you find peace. Ishvara can hear you from anywhere. Even better, establish a temple in accordance with the traditions you believe in. There you can have mantras chanted in Tamil or Telugu or Bhojpuri or Hindi or Urdu or English or whatever other language. Like I said in a previous letter in the context of appointment of pujaris in Tamil Nadu temples, just because you do not like something and just because you temporarily have power for the next 5 years, you cannot destroy a system that has been in practice for hundreds and thousands of years. There is no restriction on how many number of temples can be there. There is not even a restriction on establishing new temples. Anyway, Tamil Nadu government takes away all the money collected from temples in that state. Use that money to construct your new social justice temples. Appoint pujaris as per your government appointment rules with reservations and backdoor appointments and all that. Recite mantras in whichever language you want. But why meddle with an established tradition? A temple, or for that matter any institution, becomes popular and people want to visit that temple because it is being run in a certain way and following certain practices. If you try to destroy that, then you are trying to destroy the very reason why you want to go there, isn't it? Then what will remain is a hollow building, like some museum. I see this kind of attitude among fellow Indians very often, especially when it comes to schools and other educational institutions. There are government schools which run with our tax money, but they are so bad that no one wants to send their kids there if there is any option. All of us, including me, want to send our kids to private schools because that is the only way they can even get a decent education. But private schools are not cheap. The kind of standards and facilities because of which we want our kids to go there, those don't come cheap. If they have to have good teachers, they have to be paid well. If they have to have other facilities, fans, clean toilets, library, computers, those have to be paid for. But every academic year, we have parent associations in every city and every state in the country demanding that government should put a cap on fees collected in private schools. And state governments are happy to oblige. So, what will eventually happen if the private schools can't pay for the quality of teachers and maintenance of facilities? The very standards because of which you want your kid to go to that school will not be there anymore. There is a nice moral story about this kind of thinking. It involves a woodcutter who is sitting on a branch of a tree and is cutting the same branch. I'm sure most of you would have heard this story at some point. The whole purpose of such moral stories is so we do not show that kind of behavior in real life. So, if you like a temple, there is a reason why you like it. Most of these temples and their practices are hundreds or even thousands of years old. They have withstood the test of time and tyranny. They were there in this land much before the current judicial system in our country came into existence. Why? They were there much before even the British colonial judicial system, which our judiciary is a continuation of, came into existence. So, in your quest for social justice and a liberal utopia, please do not destroy what you have not contributed to build or even managed to improve upon. These ideas of liberalism and social justice that so many of the elites in this country seem to hold so dear, after 74 years have not even managed to achieve equality or justice even in secular matters of our society. Instead of fixing that, they are trying to meddle in something that doesn't even need fixing. And if the constitution is to be taken seriously, is clearly not their business.